If you're looking for the blockchain that will prove to be the highest and best use case for blockchain in healthcare, this is it. Hello, I'm Calvin Weiss. I'm here to tell you how blockchain can solve one of the biggest, most widespread, chronically unsolved problems in healthcare. I've been actively seeking a solution to this problem for 30 years, from when I became CFO of one of the largest hospital systems in the world. This problem is so important and so pervasive that I've devoted much of my career looking diligently for a way to solve this problem. We almost solved it in 1996. When President Clinton signed the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, commonly known as HIPAA, the headline was the Universal Health Identifier, a single unique number assigned to every person as their patient ID. You see, healthcare lacks a direct way to identify patients. And identifying patients is required for every healthcare action. Each episode of care generates many expensive and complex transactions that must bind patient identity across multiple health information systems. And we have zero tolerance for errors. Errors injure people. Errors kill people. Errors carry enormous cost, and so healthcare is burdened with layers and layers of systems, jury-rigs, and workarounds that seek to avoid costly patient identity errors. Enormous time and enormous costs are expended throughout all aspects of healthcare, seeking to avoid patient identity errors. The entire healthcare industry recognizes this problem. That's why the entire industry united behind the legislative efforts for HIPAA. But HIPAA failed to solve the problem, because as soon as President Clinton signed HIPAA, privacy advocates united to kill it. You see, in the bloom of the AIDS epidemic in the 1990s, the prospects of establishing a patient ID that could unlock all of the healthcare information about a person was deemed untenable, such that by 1996, Congress defunded any work on the Universal Health Identifier, and that killed it. And it's never been resurrected, and it never will be. A single patient ID is not acceptable to our society. Private health information must remain stored in health information systems distributed throughout healthcare, with each one using its own separate patient ID. As the Universal Health Identifier was being killed, I came to Washington with an alternative proposal that I made to the rule-making agencies. My proposal was to create a directory that would associate the different patient IDs for each person. The response was swift and sure from the privacy advocates. They said, "Calvin, we will never allow that directory because it would be too big a target for malicious attack." It's now been 20 years since I made that proposal. During that 20 years, I have diligently sought for a solution to associate patient IDs that would not be subject to malicious attack. My search has now led me to blockchain. I learned how Satoshi teaches us to create trustless truth. And we have adopted what Satoshi taught to create trustless undiscoverability. Our undiscoverable association protocol associates values such that the association is undiscoverable, but the utility of the association is realizable. With this blockchain protocol, we can finally associate distributed patient IDs without creating a target for malicious attack. With the distributed nature of blockchain and cryptocurrency, we can instantiate the universal patient index that is truly universal without limitation of enterprise or political boundaries, where no single entity controls and patient sovereignty reigns supreme. Here's how we do it. Each health information system logs their patient ID on the public, permissionless, immutable blockchain of the Universal Patient Index. The patient ID contains no identifying information, and there are no correlations or associations of the patient ID logged onto the blockchain. Then these blockchain entities are undiscoverably associated with keys held in the patient's sovereign digital health wallet. Another undiscoverable association is then made between the patient's digital health wallet and the health information system. These keys are revocable and fully recoverable in the event of loss or theft. These sovereign health wallets may be initially held in regency for the patient until the patient takes passive sovereignty by carrying a health card, or full sovereignty with a digital device. Patient identity matching is one of the most pervasive tasks performed over and over again throughout every aspect of the entire healthcare industry. The Universal Patient Index harnesses these pervasive matching tasks to crowdsource its implementation. As these matches are performed in the normal course of healthcare, they are immutably logged onto the blockchain, which reduces the need to do those matches again in the future. Calibrate Coin, the cryptocurrency that funds the Universal Patient Index, will be utilized to incentivize early adoption of this network service. Adoption is driven further by a portfolio of products and services with orthogonal demand vectors where the Universal Patient Index is an integral feature. These include direct-to-consumer products that are highly demanded. By crowdsourcing implementation, strategically using Calibrate Coin bounties, and deployment of orthogonal demand vectors, we can instantiate the Universal Patient Index to solve the massive unsolved problem in healthcare. Medical errors will be avoided, injuries will be avoided, deaths will be avoided, massive costs will be avoided. So if you're seeking the blockchain that will be proved to be the highest and best use case for blockchain in healthcare, this is it. If you're seeking the blockchain that is the missing link in every care transaction, this is it. If you're seeking the blockchain that will avoid medical errors, avoid injury, avoid death, and eliminate massive layers of expensive workarounds, this is it. If you're seeking the blockchain that solves a big problem that is proven unsolvable in the traditional solution space, this is it. If you're seeking to hold the cryptocurrency that will be used in every healthcare transaction, this is it. Thank you.